the king of...
We all know this digital thing is not going anywhere, so we are still going to keep it digital. Today I have a digital expert. I don't know what to call him because he seems to do everything. He's a digital marketer, he does apps, he seems to be a developer, he seems to know all things to do with safety. He's going to talk to us more about the digital space. Welcome, David. Now tell us exactly what are you, because I know your background is something to do with biochemistry. How does somebody come from biochemistry into the digital space?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So I'd started, I'd learned biochemistry. That was my training. Then somewhere along the way, I had to do work which involves digital art. And it was involving so many ladies. So the lady decided to send me for training instead. Then I went there and I never came back because it was so interesting. It was so much fun.
Let's get right into it. This digital space, number one, how does issues of safety? We all know that smart buildings are already in Kenya. So if I work in a smart building or my home is a smart home, how do I still ensure safety without incidences of hacking?
Yes. What we are talking about, Mercy, is called Internet of Things. The Internet of Things involves connecting devices in your house to the internet. So there is also what is, how can we call it? It's like ransomware too, which is all part of it, where somebody can gain access to your device and then, you know, they lock it until you pay a ransom. And, you know, that's also a big problem now globally. Yeah, US, all over the places.
So how can I ensure my safety here in Kenya? Considering Kenya has serious hackers, how do I ensure my safety in my home? How do I make sure my children don't get attacked, or my employees, somebody who's not meant to get authorization into my building, whether physically or digitally, does not get access into my building? How do I make sure I'm safe?
To do that, the devices used properly are pretty safe. The first one is to make sure you don't have a default password left there. The second one is to make sure you don't use a password which is easy to guess, which can also be called, you know, dictionary password. You know, use a word like password in place of password, or you change O with a letter. A zero. So those are, you know, very basic security.
Okay.
Then the other one is to make sure that the firmware, which is the operating system your system uses, is always updated.
Okay, let me ask you, because I'm in Kenya. Why shouldn't I still have a digitally smart home? Where is the place of the kufuli or the padlock? Do I still need it here in Kenya? As in, what happens to the padlocks and kufulis?
So there is an evolution.
Yes.
It is moving slowly, pole.
So will we totally do away with the padlock and kufuli, yet it is a Kenyan heritage?
Ultimately, you know, you can't resist technology. So it is not something you can resist.
Okay.
So you just have to move along with it and do course correction as time goes and do improvement. But it is here to stay. So
I'm a person who wants to get into the digital space. How do I ensure I'm legally compliant?
To start with, in Kenya, because we're in Kenya, there is the KRA issues, because before you can accept payment, you know, the government has to know you are meeting your obligations, and they also have to know you're somebody who is trustworthy. So that means you have to convince them or prove that, you know, you are trustworthy. The KRA, first of all, you have to show that, you know, you are compliant, you're paying your taxes and so on. And before you can go like to get a pay bill, to get payment online, you need Safaricom to approve, and Safaricom will require from you, you know, the certificate of compliance. The next part is the digital market, because the internet is available globally. So these are jurisdictional issues. So what that means, there are laws within those countries where you plan to sell or where your target market is. So you have to just do research and find out what they need. Find out maybe even the conversion rates and ratios. And hopefully get somebody, a consultant or a lawyer from that other jurisdiction, to help you to set it up so that, you can easily sell to those people. But as you said, it is quite a major problem.
Okay, let me ask you something which might be a bit controversial, because we all know right now the world is about data. Whether it comes to the government, whether it comes to private sector, whether it comes to NGO sector, it's all about data. But how can I make sure that if you are using my data,
Yes.
because I belong to a certain demographic, I'm also benefiting out of it? Because I don't think that it should only be the marketers who are benefiting from data that they've mined from my demographic. How can I myself also benefit from that data?
The way to benefit out of that data is you'll also get to get other people's data, probably minus their name, but the way the social media is designed is that, you can get the person's contact, like when somebody is searching for a product which you have, and you are registered for that particular service, for that particular social media. So they'll give you that detail and tell you, so and so such, and these are their details, and the person can now easily target you. And when you are on that page, especially when you access that through a search engine, they'll also know what you are doing and where you left off. And that data can still be used to retarget you, and also to make sure the kind of advertisement you are getting are related to what you had searched for.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is quite a challenge, and I think it is still being worked on, and I hope they'll get it right.